Well, hello. This is another episode of Reley's Career Talks. I'm your host, Foley.
Hi, and I'm Rebecca.
Hi, and we have a great guest for you today, too. One of my closest friends from Ohio,
Ooh,
represent.
Yes.
Ohio in the house.
Ohio, even though I'm DMV all the way.
Oh wow, you
Yeah,
see how easy
yeah.
we switch it up, y'all.
Okay, we can
Being
switch it up.
lawyers.
All right.
Yeah, and I'd like her to introduce herself to our audience.
Yeah, so my name is Quiana Bills.
Mhm.
I have been in the DMV area for 4 years now. It'll actually be 4 years on this Saturday.
Oh,
March.
Oh, wow.
nice.
Not that I'm counting,
Mhm.
but it has been an absolute amazing experience for me. I actually ventured to this area due to my career. I shifted positions. So
Mhm.
by day, I am a biomedical consultant. So I work with doctors, scientists, biologists, a lot of people who are working around the clock to try to keep us healthy, especially with this crazy pandemic that we're currently going through.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And then I also have multiple business ventures that I have started and also partnered with some amazing friends of mine. So one of those business ventures is QLB Consulting Group, and we are a one-stop shop for all of your business development consulting needs.
Okay.
And then I also have a another business. It's a business partner coaching company with one of my best friends that I started. And we basically teach people how to go into business with their close friends, siblings, spouses without messing up the personal relationship. So
Yeah.
you know
That's
how
good.
people like when they're thinking about getting married, they have to do a
Hmm.
premarital counseling. So we pretty
Yeah.
much have like a pre-business partnership, like counseling and conferences and retreats for people thinking about going into business together.
Oh
Okay, I
wow, that's
like that.
pretty clever too. I
That's
was
nice. That's a
like,
nice like twist. I like
yeah,
that a
I know a
lot.
few people that needs it too.
Needs it. Yeah.
Yeah, because I
So
mean, you have some great friends that you've known for a long time, but unfortunately, people don't know how to separate business from personal.
Hmm.
So
mhm.
it's not that you can't go into business with people that you're close with. It's just no one has ever laid the blueprint on
Hmm.
how to do it successfully. So we saw a need and we created a product.
Mm,
Okay,
that's
sounds
good.
good. I like that.
So Kiana, take us back, way back on how you started your professional career as a consultant for I guess the pharmaceutical company too. Like, how
Yeah,
did you get into that? Earlier you mentioned that you switched careers, so
I
talk about
did.
that.
I did. So I was a first generation college student.
Hmm.
And going into college and not really having a whole lot of guidance, and I'm always transparent. A lot of people in the Black community, as soon as they hear college, the first thing they say is, you have to become a doctor. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
like doctor, lawyer. Those are usually like the most popular
Uh-huh.
career
Go
paths
to.
that
Yeah.
our
Hmm.
parents think that we should do.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
I mean, I always felt like I was smart enough to become a doctor. So when I entered into my undergraduate process, I started out as a pre med student. I did biochemistry. And then I started thinking to myself, Kiana, you cannot stand the sight of blood,
Hmm.
vomit, boogers. I mean,
Yeah.
all these things
I can attest to
that,
that.
listen, all of these things that doctors and nurses and people that are hands-on with patients have to look at every single day. I'm
Hmm.
like, by the time I walk up in the room to visit one of my patients, they're going to need to help me because I'm going to beat them passed out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I switched over to biz econ courses because I've always seen myself as this, corporate woman, boss woman, CEO, entrepreneur, but I also have always had a love for the medical field.
Hmm.
So I started out with several different careers. For the sake of time, I saw some different positions for the first company that I had went into, which
Hmm.
was Thermo Fisher Scientific. And I reached out to one of my mentors. I have so many different mentors. And this particular mentor is an older Italian man. He's like in his late 70s. He's been married for like 55 years, but he was a corporate recruiter in the pharma industry and biotech industry for years. So when I went to him and told him about Thermo Fisher, he just was very transparent with me. He said, Thermo Fisher is an amazing company, but I just want you to know that there aren't a lot of minorities in this industry. So he wasn't really talking about Thermo Fisher per se, but he was just saying in the STEM related field, you don't really have a whole lot of minorities who go into science, technology, engineering, mathematics. And then I did not have a whole lot of those different disciplines because, I switched degrees, but he prepped me for the interview. And lo and behold, I ended up getting into the industry, getting that position. And I started at the very bottom. So I took a pay cut and everything because I knew where I was trying to go. And I made an extremely bold move in my interview. And I basically had three positions that I was interested in that were way down the line. And I asked them, I said, how long do I have to sit in this role before I can apply to something else? And I told them this is a major career change for me. And I want to know what my path is going to look like because I just want to be 100 with you guys. I don't plan on staying in this role for long. And they told me, okay, you have to wait at least 12 months. So, honey, on the 11th month, okay, baby girl, sister, girlfriend was looking for another position.
That's how it
And
should
so
go.
I'm telling you, so I was really on top of it. I was very involved in our different employee resource groups. I ended up managing the Pittsburgh chapter for the African Heritage Employee Resource Group. So I actually ended up getting like two promotions at one time. So I went from our Pittsburgh location out to the field, and that's when I transitioned from the Pennsylvania area to the Maryland area. And at that time, I went from being a global co-lead at the Pittsburgh level, like the local level, to a global co-lead for the entire employee resource group for the recruitment pillar.
Nice.
Yeah, so I was able to start up different chapters. I really had a huge, and I'm still an advocate for diversity and inclusion for all people. And I was able to get some chapters started all over the US and the UK and the Netherlands. And I just started to build my network from there. So, almost 6 years later, this position that I'm currently in, it would normally take the average person 10 to 12 years to get to this point, but I did it in 5.
That's
Oh,
So
wow.
awesome. That's
I
half
have
the
been,
time.
yeah, I
That's
have been
Wow.
crazy.
working it out. And I can attribute that to my amazing mentors because a good mentor, when they teach you the right things, if it took him or her 10 or 12 years to get to a certain point, it should take you half the time because they're already telling you the mistakes that they've made, the choices that they've made, the experience that they've had. So that's how you're able to discover whether or not you have a good mentor. All the things that they've done, the foundations that they've laid, you should just be able to build upon those things. And that's what I did.
Okay. You just
Yeah.
dropped a whole bunch of gems. You mentioned getting a mentor, actually putting in that work to actually get
Yeah.
to where you want to go, having a plan in mind coming in. So that's really good stuff you just mentioned, because I think that would be good for our listeners to know that, you don't just expect somebody to necessarily guide you through, but you should also have a game plan as well and use your resources to get where you are. So it's moving on. So we've talked about your professional career. So let's move on to your business adventures. So you mentioned two earlier businesses to us. So can you tell us about the evolution of that? What made you start the businesses? And then I guess you mentioned two of them. So I guess you can talk about them separately. Describe, what made you do it, and then how did you get involved? Like, what are the steps? Like those type of things.
Okay, wonderful. So I come from very humble beginnings, and you get this dollar amount in your mind and you think that it's just so much money, and until you actually get to that place and then you're an adult and you're paying bills and you're putting gas in your car and now you're like, okay, I have to eat, so I need to make more money. um, but whenever I would sit down and kind of go over my life plan, first with myself and then with my mentors, I always wanted God to put me in a position to be a blessing to bless other people. So anytime I prayed for an increase, it was always because I had other people in mind. And I know that that's one of the reasons why God has been able to open up so many doors that I've been able to walk through. And I can't sit on here and talk about, my success without acknowledging my source.
Mhm.
So anytime I would pray, it was never like, God, I need to make more money so I can buy red bottoms and Balenciaga and Gucci. Now, don't get me wrong, I love those things,
Mhm.
but I wanted to look at the bigger picture.
Yeah.
And, I was looking at my salary, and, as I started to climb the corporate ladder, I started to get, 50,000 a year, 75. The next thing you know, I'm in the six figures. And the next thing you know, I'm climbing and climbing. But when I started to look at the entire just plan, or even my territory, I was bringing in these companies millions of dollars.
Mhm.
So when people are on the outside looking in, they're like, baby girl, you have arrived, you are making six figures. And I'm like, yeah, but in the grand scheme of things,
You
I
only
made
getting that.
$6
Mhm.
million last year.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm smart enough, I'm pretty enough, I'm feisty enough, I'm ambitious enough to make myself and my whole team millions of dollars. So
Mhm.
it's never been just about myself or
Mhm.
what I can get out of it. It's always been, what can I do? How can I put my team on?
Mhm.
Like, I want to be able to eat, and I want everyone else around me to eat as well. So that's
Mhm.
when I went into the business development consulting firm for myself, because I was already doing consulting for a very long time, whether it was on the retail side, whether it was in the financial advising,
Mhm.
whether I did recruiting at the collegiate level, it's all advising.
Mhm.
So my main focus has been for a very long time to bring and create opportunities for our community. I feel
Mhm.
like, a lot of people make it out the hood, and, they get to this place where they don't really give back. Like, it's kind
Mhm.
of like, they say, like, forget where you have, where you came from. But I
Mhm.
never wanted to be that type of leader that was not accessible. I still wanted to be able to help my people. So my consulting firm, it focuses on four different disciplines. So we
Okay.
have a full out marketing um, piece that we do. We
Mhm.
have business development. We have a diversity and inclusion, where we can go into your corporations and see where you are and fill in those gaps for you. And then
Mhm.
we also have the staffing too.
Oh, nice.
So
Okay.
yeah, we personalize your business, or your plan based on your needs. We sit down, have a conversation with you, take it from there. But the main objective was to not only build wealth for myself, but to build wealth for those around me. You
Mhm.
know, and then because I also have a nonprofit and a couple other things that I do as well. But just to kind of focus on the QLB consulting and the bestieship one-on-one, I've always wanted to go into business with one of my close friends. And I'm not gonna, lie to you. I was a little nervous about it too.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, we've been friends for 15 years. Like, is this really gonna? We don't even really argue. And when she and I sat down and we started to brainstorm ideas together, she was like, what can we do? Like, how do we come up with a business that teaches other people like us how to go into business with one another without damaging the personal relationship that they
Mhm.
have? And she was like, a business partnership, but with your best friend. I'm like, ooh, bestie-ship. So that's
I
that's where
like
bestie
it.
is born. Yeah. So, I mean, those are just like some of the small, little pieces of the entire puzzle. But I have an amazing team of people on both sides and everything that I do. So it's me, but it's also seeing a need in different communities and just wanting to create opportunities for not only myself but for others.
Okay, I like
Oh,
that.
that's wonderful too. I love that too. Because here, that's where we did the Reley Career Talks. We talk
Mhm.
about ownership, entrepreneurs as well too, because we can't rely so much on the companies too, because these days it can let people out like that too.
Mhm.
So
Right.
starting your
Exactly.
own LLC, which I want to ask a question too, how, a lot of people, they say, man, I don't know, starting, my own business, is that going to be difficult? What are some of the challenges that you have to face and overcome to start your own business as well too? And also talk about the steps to start an LLC, because you have multiple ones.
Yeah, you do. So I would say the first step would be to get out of your own way.
Hmm.
you continue to overthink all of the stuff that you don't have or all of the stuff that you need to get started, you will never get it done.
Mhm.
So the first step is just to make the step, like just go for it. I am not a person who has all the answers. I'm a person who has just never given up. And when I fall down, I get right back up. When I make mistakes, I don't, beat myself up too badly about it. I just, learn from it and keep growing and going. Now, when it comes to um, what I consider the easier part of it, which is just going online, depending on the state that you're in, you first have to come up with your name, come up with your business idea, and do your search in that state to make sure no one else has your name.
Mhm.
Once you do that research, you're just going to make a determination as to what type of business you want. Do you want limited liability? Do you want to be incorporated? Are you in a business partnership with someone else? It also depends on what type of business you have. Like, for example, if you're starting a t-shirt line like myself, you need to do a lot of research on the taxes for
Yeah.
the area that you're trying to sell your merchandise in. Some areas are, the taxes are pretty steep. So you just want to do your due diligence, take out the time, do your research. And when all fails, hit up my team. I mean, this is
Mhm.
what we do.
Yeah.
I
This is
love
what
it.
we do all day, every day. And we do not break the bank. We make it very affordable for people. We're not here to strip people of their entire budget. We want to give you the most resources that we possibly can, help you along the way without making you feel like, man, I just really just spent my whole $20,000 at QLB Consulting. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to tell you not to, but the goal is to help you learn and grow. So the first step is just go for it. Just do it. I mean, if anyone would like to talk to me, do a consultation, we have market research plans that we do, just in case if you want to start a business and you don't really know too much information about it. My team does websites, we do logos. I have an attorney on my team. So if you're interested in trademarking, I mean, we are literally like the Walmart of consulting. You go to Walmart, you get your tires changed, you go do your grocery shopping,
Get your
you know,
nails
Mhm.
done.
get your nails done, all of that. So that's how we like to, consider ourselves. We're just, you don't have to go anywhere else. Like once you come here, and we have different tiers of suppliers that we work with for everyone's budget. So if you are like, hey, I want to go all out with marketing, I can send you to this person. If you're like, hey, I don't really have a whole lot, I can send you to someone else. So we tried to make sure we were touching all of the bases with all of our different levels of clients with their budgets.
Yeah, that
Good.
sounds good. So
Yeah,
I want to go back a little bit. You mentioned that you have multiple mentors. So I know that's something that everyone's like, oh, I want a mentor. I don't know how to get a mentor. How did you
mhm.
find your mentors? Like, or you said you mentioned like a key thing you said about the mentors that if it took them 10 years to do something, it's take you half the time if they're a good mentor. But first of all, how many mentors do you have? And then what are the things that you looked for in those mentors? Or how did you even find the mentors so they can guide you along and make sure you're successful and kind of like helping you along that way?
Yes. So I have 7 mentors.
Mhm.
And I also have several mentees. So I believe in, paying it forward. So if someone
Mhm.
is pouring into me and my cup is overflowing, I have to bless people with the overflow. So
Mhm.
it's not just about me having the mentor, it's also about me mentoring others. But
Mhm.
how I determine which mentors I chose, I looked at every area of my life that had an area of opportunity. And, a lot of people call those weaknesses, but in corporate America, we say areas of
Areas
opportunity.
of opportunities,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. So I looked at, for example, I mentioned my mentor earlier, the older Italian guy. He was in an industry, or he had worked in an industry for 45 years. He was a
Mhm.
recruiter for biopharma, biotech, and things of that nature. So I knew that he knew what they were looking for. And just to kind of give you an idea of how I even met him really quickly, because this is a great testimony. My mother was in a drug rehab program, and he was the president of a Catholic charity trying to get her back on her feet. And so he came to her one day and he's like, you know, every time I see you, you're always down. I'm sure that you have something, or, you know, that you have to be proud of something. Like you have to feel like you've done something right. So my mother was like, I actually have a child who turned out pretty okay, you know. So he was like, oh, wow, you know, like, what did she do? I would love to meet her. So that's how I met him. You know, I met him through my mother. So even though she was going through a tough journey, like I ended up meeting one of the greatest mentors of my life. And then as I started to get to know him, I started to, you know, understand like his background. And then he was married. Well, he's been married for 55 years. And that's also a piece of my life that I'm like, you know, when I get married, when I find my king,
Speak it. Yes.
You know,
you better be careful. People gonna be DMing you after this.
Listen, don't you DM now, unless the Holy Ghost is with you. but yeah, so I mean, I just looked at different pieces of his life that really stuck out to me. And then as I started to move to the other mentors, one of my mentors were actually the same age. It's kind of like a mutual mentorship with us. He reaches out to me, I reach out to him, but he was also in this industry and doing extremely well. And then I have, you know, a spiritual mentor, you know, someone who just is not super religious, but they just have a deeper understanding of who they are and where they're going, and, you know, how to deal with different situations. So to just kind of cut that down, I looked at the different areas of my life and I started interviewing these people based on what I needed. But then on top of that, I'm like, well, what can I do for you? Like, how can I help you? Do you need me to do anything? Because you're sending me, you're pouring into me all of these amazing pieces of advice that are like priceless, you know? So like, what can I do? So I'm always willing to help. And all of them have said, like, pay it forward, go mentor someone else. So that's what I do. That's how I give back to them. Like they want to see me pouring into other people as well.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah, I mean, Quiana is not lying at all, too. She's wonderful. She helps her friends out all the time. I would call her and be like, "Hey, I need something." She's like, "Oh, what you need? What you got?" On the spot too. So she's not lying. One of the things you mentioned earlier too is the mentee program too that you started. It's I see a lot of people. I see a lot of people who benefit from your mentorship and who've grown and I was like upstanding people. I was like, wow, Quiana put some money where her mouth is.
I appreciate it. I really do. And I was just actually speaking with my friend earlier, and I really like have so many principles that I try to live by. And it's being a woman of my word and a woman of integrity. So I think that if you do what you say, you know, that actually covers so many different other things in life. And if you do the right thing all the time, not just when people are watching, that'll, you know, that covers a whole lot of things as well. So I really get joy out of seeing people grow, you know, like it really warms my heart. I get so overwhelmed with emotion when I think about how blessed I am. And you know, whenever people are like, well, how did you do it? I'm like, I did it because I didn't keep this to myself. You know, so that's like, you know, where everything stems from. Is just, I'm not stingy with the knowledge and the wisdom that I've developed and, you know, received from others over the years. And thank you, folks. You almost emotional. I done did my makeup tonight, you know.
You're looking real nice.
I know.
You almost made me cry the rest of the lashes out.
You know.
I need a little feel. So I'm holding on to the last little couple that's up there. And you about to get me emotional.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to tell the time when you cheated at tic-tac-toe, you know. But I didn't want to say anything. So
look, you see how they do
You see that?
when the hate don't work, they start telling you
Right, exactly.
So what's next with Miss
Yes,
Bills?
yes.
What we doing in the next couple of days, the next couple of
man.
weeks, couple of
So
years?
listen, this year is the year of the push through, if I may say.
Mhm.
So I felt like even with the level of success that I've had over the years, I was still kind of sleeping on my own potential because I wasn't really going as hard as I could have been going. So we do have the Boss Talk events that is taking place this Saturday from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. If anyone is interested, please reach out to me or Foley and we'll get you the Eventbrite link. It's a free event. We have some amazing panelists on board, and all of us are natives of Youngstown, Ohio. And if anyone knows about Youngstown, it's a very hard place to grow up in.
Yeah.
So what we wanted to do was, share our journey with other people. How do we make it? What do we do? What are some of the things that we've learned? I have, just to kind of highlight one of the panelists, a former NFL football player, and he's going to do a discussion on what do I do when my career, my football career just ends? Where do I go? Like, how do I transition from
Mhm.
seeing my name in these lights and hearing all these people cheer for me to I got to go and get a job in corporate America. So I
Mhm.
think that that's a huge piece because in the Black community, you have a lot of young athletes. And unfortunately, their parents don't always focus on student athlete. They just look
Mhm.
at little Tyrone and see that he can throw a football and catch it. And that's all they focus on. So
Mhm.
it's kind of like, I've seen a lot of parents treat their children harshly because of their failures in sports. And I'm like, okay, does Tyrone really want to do this? Or are you trying to make Tyrone do it because your football career didn't take off?
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
know, so I wanted him to really reach out to not just the parents, but also the children so that they know, like, hey, like the first most important part of student athlete is student. Like, make sure you have a backup plan, make sure you have different goals, and you have a plan A, B, and C, because anything could happen. You could be the best athlete out there and you could just get injured, like,
Mhm.
so things that are beyond your control. um, and during that call, so that's actually the launch of our podcast. So Bestieship LLC also has a podcast. We are launching our t-shirt line.
Yes.
I can't really give a whole lot of details there, but on the actual Zoom call, I'm going to be modeling some of our catchphrases and
I
designs.
love it.
We have some virtual door prizes and giveaways. And for the fall of this year, I am going to relaunch my nonprofit, and it's called Reach. And it stands for resilient, effective, ambitious, consistent, and healthy. So healthy can go on a couple different, levels and spectrums: healthy in your mind, healthy in your soul, healthy in your body. And I really wanted to give my mentees something that they can lean on so that they can start mentoring others as well. From my nonprofit, I'm going to start building youth centers in Youngstown, Ohio. And what these youth centers are going to do, this is coming under Reach.
Mhm.
Um, we are going to primarily target at-risk youth, and I also want to provide opportunities for young or Black men and women or minorities who are coming out of prison and they're trying to transition and
To the
start a
workforce.
life for themselves. So
Mhm.
I found, when you do your research, like people that come out of that type of environment, when they're held accountable and they're responsible for something or someone, they hold on to their freedom a lot longer.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that particular business venture is going to pretty much, for the lack of better terms, kill two birds with one stone, helping the at-risk youth see, hey, if you don't straighten up, this is where you can end up. I'm home now. I'm trying to pour into you. Let me help you so that you don't go down the route that I'm going. So it's basically like a scared straight without scaring them. We want to love on them,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and help them grow. I am also franchising a portion of QLB Consulting as far as the staffing goes. That's going to take place this summer. So if it sounds like I have a lot, it's because I do have a lot going on this year. But as I stated, this year is the year of the push through. And I am not sleeping on any more of my potential. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to allow my friends to do it. The staffing opportunity, I've actually spoken to a few of my close friends who want to partner with me. I have already started connecting with people in the prison system whom I've grown up with, who, you know, didn't make the best decisions, and they're looking for they're getting ready to come home soon, and they're like hungry. You know, they've made these transformations, they've been rehabilitated. So I want to provide opportunities for them as well. I also have some ebooks coming out. I mean, it's a lot, but I'm going to talk in more detail on those things on Saturday as well. And if anyone is interested in getting connected with me or doing anything, taking partnership or ownership in some of the stuff that I do, you know, you can contact me on Instagram. So my business page is QLB-consulting or at QLB-consulting. You can email me info@QLB-consulting.com. I'm always willing, able, and ready to help as many people as I can.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you. You beat us to it. We're
Yes,
gonna ask you.
We're gonna ask you.
How did they contact you?
Yeah, I'm like, listen, I'm on autopilot right now, so I don't really go from 0 to 100. I go from 100 to 1,000. So, you know, sometimes you gotta be like, calm down.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you have time to rest? Like, like woosah, you know?
Listen, I'm not gonna sit up here and pretend like I don't have days that I'm drained and I'm tired. But that's when you go from being motivated to being disciplined. I don't always feel like it. But I do it anyway because I'm disciplined, I'm hungry, and I want to see this thing manifest.
Yes,
So,
of course.
I mean, I have, as I stated earlier, like, you know, like my source comes from above. You know, he gives me strength that I don't even know. I know it's not me. And my team is amazing. Victoria Cook is my head of HR. I'm sorry, my head of marketing and communications. Kimberly is my director of HR. She's also my assistant. Kimber Lynn is one of my digital and graphics media specialists. And Dominiqua is also one of my digital and media specialists as well. So it's not just me. Now, you know, I'm doing way too much stuff to do it all by myself. So I have an amazing, amazing, amazing team. And just really quickly, we're going to have a meet the team event towards the end of April so that people can actually come on and meet all of the faces and the muscle behind QLB Consulting. So
is that
soon.
Okay? Would that be virtual or in person?
It's going to be virtual because a lot of the COVID guidelines, you know, we're still very restricted and we want to be safe. So it's going to be virtual as well.
Okay, cool. We're looking forward for that too. But Quiana, thank you for so much for coming to our show today. We had a good time, and sister's doing her thing. So
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. If there's anything that you two need from me, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm so super proud of you guys.
Oh, thank you.
You guys, you know,
thank you.
Have all the success that God has for you. So thank you so much.
You as well too.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
So
all right, take care.
All right, thank you so much.
All right, bye.
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 All right, guys. So we just had such a dynamic woman come on our show today. She talked about her business ventures, her rise to being one of the heads in the pharmaceutical companies in consulting. So with that,
owning multiple businesses, you know,
nonprofits. She got a t-shirt line coming out. There's so many things that she's doing. Even her anyway, we're not gonna go. You should have watched.
So you like you said earlier, you can reach her in her social media, but you can reach us with our social media with first our website, which is www.releycareerservices.com, or you can reach us at IG, Facebook, and LinkedIn at
Mhm.
Reley Career Services LLC. And that completes another great episode. And also, one other thing too, if you guys have any ideas for
Mhm.
shows, or also we do resumes, cover letters, and mock interviews as well too. Just email us at any time at Reley's Career Services LLC at gmail.com, or go to our website and submit questions, or just give us a shout out.
Yes,
Yeah.
we look forward to hearing from you, and we look forward to having you continue with our talk series. So thank you guys.
Have a good day.
Ciao.